welcome back to the up and down matches. Here are our current scores. Killer going 1-0, Virus 0-1, and Finn following suit as his fellow Terran brother, and Lucky going 1-0. Finally, we have Brown losing to Huck, so he is 0-1, whereas Huck is 1-0. So basically, everyone has played their first game, or yeah, essentially, yeah, everyone's played their first game. And we'll have Finn against Killer, both of them playing their second ones. Both of these players right now only have one score, but Killer is up, whereas Finn is down. So this game is essentially more important for Finn. If he loses this one, he's going to have a huge deficit, whereas if Killer loses it, he'll be tied 1-1, which is not ideal, but it's not as bad of a starter for him.
And here we are with both of them on the screen. Metropolis is going to be the map, as you can see. To the left we have Killer, to the right Finn. And yeah, we received a lot of tweets talking about the issue with the health bars, and a lot of them said that apparently Finn is one of them. One of the players that doesn't use the health bar on screen the whole time.
Yeah.
Some players that I've talked to just told me that in their opinion it's distracting them quite a bit. And they just use the alt key, so they got really used to using the alt key every time that there's a huge fight, and they like to concentrate on the game for the rest of their time. But well, let's see what's going to happen in Killer against Finn, ladies and gentlemen. This is the GSL with Alan Wolf. To the left side of Metropolis in the red color, our Protoss player, he's up one match in this up and down series.
Complexity Killer.
He just won his first game against the Terran player, so he's basically playing the same matchup now, which will, well, probably give him a little bit of comfort. It's just nice if you can stay in the same mindset and don't have to change the strategies and everything. So, facing
OGS Pin.
aka ForGG, playing for OGS, who just lost his game against Lucky in a really nice match on Entomb Valley.
Yep.
A really great game that we've seen. The matches today have been so entertaining so far. I really love it, and I hope that Killer and Finn will deliver another epic battle. And well, we already have drone scouts going on. This is Metropolis.
Yep, very quick scout here for Killer. He's going to be lucky and scout his opponent right away. And Finn dropping his barracks close to his command center should be able to defend against his Probrass really easily.
Yeah, dropping the barracks close to the command center is actually enabling him to defend very well against those Probrass. So it's a bit of a problem, and if he would have, for example, just have tried to build the barracks at the choke point, then I think Killer would have used the opportunity to block the barracks a little bit, so the decision that he's wanting.
Yep, he does scout the gas as well. Now, the weakness, of course, to building the barracks here is that you have to build a bunker no matter what. Generally speaking, against Protoss, when you do this. Nexus first for Killer back at home, even after scouting the gas. Usually, though, when you're going Nexus first, regardless of what your opponent's doing, you just can't make a super late gate. There's not much to it, so you just have to make the Nexus regardless. At these positions, though, he can hold the Nexus first against almost anything if he micros and scouts correctly. Since he's already scouted the gas, oh, sick, blocks the tech lab with the pylon. This is something I have started doing in almost every single one of my matches against Terran, whether I Nexus first or not, just because it's so useful. You absolutely gain knowledge of what your opponent is doing with this. You know if it's a factory or not.
Leaving it alive?
Yep. Now he knows it's factory if this barracks doesn't lift, and no lift, so it's absolutely factory play, so he knows what to do now.
I have to admit that this is the first time that I've seen it.
It's really old school. People haven't been doing it recently, but it's making somewhat of a resurgence because with this type of build, when you see gas, it's like, well, it could be anything. Seeing the gas alone isn't helpful enough. And there's the reactor going down on the barracks. It's possible some good Terran players will lift the barracks after the pylon is there and then make a factory anyway, so it looks like they want to move it so they can make an add-on. Oh, look at this! Oh, did he see the reactor? He did. Oh my god, he's actually able to scout everything. Killer doing a great job with his scouting so far.
Thinking about it, you are actually right. This allows some really cute play, like attacking the pylon, and a couple of seconds before the pylon dies, you kind of move your barracks in order to fake what you're doing. But yeah, I kind of like it. As I said, it's the first time I've seen it, but it's pretty cool. For 100 minerals, that's probably definitely worth it. Kind of depends if you lose your probes as well in the early game, it might set you back a bit, so...
The cool thing also with it is when you make the pylon, it's around the same time as your third pylon you would make at home anyways, so you can keep making units until it dies. So you don't really lose that much out of it. You actually use the pylon as well if it finishes. It works out okay. Now Killer's actually adding 2 gateways here rather than getting a fast robo. And against the build he is about to face, you know, it's kind of strange he's doing it. Now he's getting the robo. I would have expected him to do the robo first. It's going to be a Hellion drop, which with the faster 2 gates, that's going to help him a little bit, but it was kind of a blind choice by Killer. Does make a pylon to spot for drops.
Yeah, with the robo, I don't really, I don't know. This build that he does right now, that Finn does with the drop that he tries with the Hellions, and well, he's not attacking with his Marines, but that might actually work. But on the other hand, most Chorus players that I've casted lately have been prepared for it, and he spots it early on. He knows exactly what's happening. He doesn't have too many units just yet,
units are
and
away.
the timing is brilliant. The timing for Finn is really brilliant. It just hits before the tech, before the warp gates are done.
Yep, this is something that he's really known for, his timings. Wow! He's gonna kill a lot here.
His unit control is off the charts here. He's just faking movement, and every time Killer tries to pull off his probes, he runs into the wrong direction, and suddenly Finn is there with his 3 Hellions and just one-shotting all of them.
Well, even though Killer lost a total of 15 workers here, the worker count is still fairly even, 21 to 25, and with no second command center...
He didn't even lose all of the Hellions.
Nope, he kept his last one alive. With no second command center, though, if Killer defends against the next Marine pressure, he should be okay. There's a Raven on the way, though, and Siege tanks. That's going to be the second phase of this all-in.
This was a huge blow. That was a huge blow against Killer. I would have never expected that Finn was able to do that much damage with just 3 of his Hellions and a drop that we've seen a lot. So most Peros players are actually able to defend against it, but his unit movement was was so insane. It was really great.
It really was. Killer's reaction and movements were so quick and good as well. It just was not good enough. He's getting an Immortal out right now. He has to spend a lot of money on a lot of different things. He has to make probes and units at a good ratio right now. He knows what's coming. He knows it's just going to be another wave of all-ins, but if he can defend a little bit longer, he will be fine. The all-in is delayed by that Hellion drop. Looks like he's going to try to use the Stalkers to buy time in the middle of the map, which is really nice. No SCVs coming with this push. He's just simply going to use the Raven to use Point Defense Drone. If he can force the Point Defense Drone early, that would be great, but he does not have enough Stalkers to do that.
But this is going to be so hard for Killer to defend against this.
He probably cannot defend.
He lost so many probes already. His army supply is now 21 against like 40, so Finn is in a beautiful position here. And
it all comes down to whether or not if Killer decides to try to hold the Nexus, he will lose this game. He's going to go for the Raven, and he gets it! Wow. No Point Defense Drones. One Stalker does go down as a result.
Sloppy by Finn here.
Well, he just did not want to use the PDD. Oh, and Killer's going to try to defend the Nexus. I do not like this. With that many units and a medevac, he will not hold.
He did not have to have the Raven up front, but now we have this huge attack, and at the top you already have one of the Immortals targeting down the tank at the bottom.
Oh my god.
Finn is doing actually not as much damage as I would have thought he would do.
Well, with the second Immortal flanking from the side, 2 Immortal flanks was really good, but the Stalkers now have nowhere to run.
Yeah, they are completely trapped. He's not pulling probes. He's losing every single Stalker, and now the Immortal is dying as well. The probes under pressure. Very well done by Finn so far. Killer down to 25 supply.
Yep.
This is it.
Game is over. GG. Trying to hold the Nexus was not a smart choice by Killer, but his micro and his flank with the Immortals was really great. It just wasn't enough. The control of Finn's Hellions, though, was amazing. That was the real story of this game.
Yeah, Finn's Hellion control was insane, and what I really loved is that he kind of faked this movement pattern with the Hellions, and every single time that Killer tried to just retreat with his probe, suddenly Finn would just veer back with his entire Hellion group and kill those probes, so that was so well done. Yep. At the same time, a couple of mistakes by Finn in the late game, which did not change anything in regard to the outcome. So, for example, losing the Raven was not necessary. He could have just pulled the Raven back anytime, but he lost the Raven early on. Some of his, well, the tanks got taken out as well with the one Immortal at the top, so I really think that was not actually a mistake by Finn placing the tank here, but nice move by Killer. But in the end, the damage was already done, and he could not defend. As you said, defending this Nexus was kind of impossible.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Even if he defends, or if he goes up into his main, he loses the Nexus, he could get contained. There were no SCVs with the push, so he wouldn't have been able to make bunkers immediately. But he probably would have ended up being contained, and that would have been an unfortunate circumstance. But holding the Nexus there would have been absolutely impossible without the Immortal flank that he had. But even with the Immortal flank, we saw how useless the Stalkers were once they could not kite the Marines. And that was just the end there. So, unfortunate. We're going to have another TVP. It's going to be Virus against Brown next up here. It's going to be on Daybreak. And Virus has been known to execute his Marine Tank Banshee builds very, very well. He's actually one of the best at doing so. I don't know if that's necessarily what we're going to see. It's not very common on Daybreak, but we may very well see that on this map because that's a strategy Virus uses time and time again against Protosses.
We have both of them lost their first game, so it's really important for them to win the next battle. And, well, the next map, it's going to be interesting to see who's coming out ahead. And, yeah, Daybreak is a pretty nice map for Terran versus Protoss. I actually like it.
Yeah, I like it as well. We'll see how this map ends up playing up for these players. Did you hear about Daybreak being added to the ladder?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I'm really happy about that. I don't know if it's live on NA yet though. If there are any changes to the map, because Blizzard usually changes the map slightly. I'm kind of curious about that, but maybe someone could tweet at us at ProxyWolf and at Caldor and tell us. Look at that Virus hair, man. That hair color is contagious.
Just to give you a quick glimpse into what's happening next. After this game, we will see one of the matches that's going to contain a Sig Lucky against Huck. Will be the match starting after Virus against Brown. Also be something to look forward to. And now the lobby is up. The game is actually starting right now. There's the countdown and the loading screen. Startel Virus against Slayers Brown on Daybreak here at the GSL. Another Terran versus Protoss. Both of them down one game. They really need a win. GSL with Calder and Wolf. And guys, we are headed into the match. We'll start with the map in just a few seconds.